Denise Juneau believes in the power of public education and is running for re-election as our State Superintendent of Public Instruction to continue to ensure our students get a quality education that creates opportunities for them to be highly competitive in the global economy. She grew up in Browning, Montana on the Blackfeet Reservation. She earned her undergraduate degree in English at MSU, a master's degree from the Harvard Graduate School of Education, and a law degree from the University of Montana. In 2010, Carroll College awarded her with an honorary doctorate in humane letters. Denise taught high school English in Newtown, North Dakota, and Browning. She was a Montana Supreme Court judicial clerk and worked briefly for a national law firm before serving as the Director of Indian Education at the Office of Public Instruction. In 2008, Juneau was the first American Indian woman elected to serve in a statewide elected position. She is a strong advocate for all Montana students and promotes policies that ensure students meet today's challenges and tomorrow's opportunities. This morning when I spoke to her, I asked her what 100% possible means to her. She said that it means to her that you can dream really big and it's 100% possible to achieve your dreams, but it takes hard work and lots of support. Now please give a warm welcome to Denise Juneau.
All right, that was some lukewarm support. Well, it's actually a very big honor for me to be here with all you young women all across the state. And I looked at that map and I've been to all those towns. And so it's pretty phenomenal to see girls gathered from all across Montana here to learn and be empowered and to be courageous and to move forward and help your communities. And it's just great to see all of you here at the Girls for a Change Conference, where you will begin to see what is 100% possible for you. And I bet, just like you heard, that if you'll find out through this day that if you can dream it, that you can do it. If you are willing to plan and put in a lot of hard work to achieve it. As part of my job, I get to travel around all across the state to communities and schools and visit with students. And I always find out that your generation knows so much about what is going on in our country, in our state, across the world. A lot of that because of those little devices that you hold in your hands constantly. But I always discover also that your generation is more interested in finding a way to make a difference than any generation before. That's why all of you are here in the morning on a Saturday, and I commend you all for making that decision. And because I've been so impressed with you and your peers across this state, and because I believe that young people should have a say in what happens in their schools and communities, I have a student advisory board that's made up of 40 students from 30 different communities across the state. They come together and convene twice a year, and we talk about a lot of different issues, very robust discussions about dropouts, the relevance of what they're learning in school, school climate issues, how well schools are preparing them for colleges and for careers, how we can better address the bullying that goes on in schools. And my student advisory board, and likely all of you too, truly understand that your generation will have to be the change that you want to see in the world. And I know that each of you know that it's vitally important for your generation to be civically engaged so that you can take on all of the big issues facing our country. I'm not talking about mere involvement, just hanging around the edges. I'm talking about being engaged in the system and being the change and being those change agents that you want to see happen. And that's why all of you are here, is to learn and to be engaged in your communities and your state. You are here because you now realize that you are old enough to begin making choices for your life and to make plans to achieve the dreams that you have. You can now choose to be a passive victim of circumstance, or you can be the active hero of your own life. You cannot wait for things to happen. You have to make it happen in order to make your own future and achieve your own hope. In fact, even graduating from high school is going to take hard work and perseverance. And becoming educated is not always an easy thing. Becoming educated is not for the meek or the weak. It takes a lot of hard work. And you have to make that happen for yourself. How many of you plan to graduate from high school? Better be 100% of hands go up in here. We'll talk a little bit more about high school graduation in a bit. How many of you plan to go to college? Juneau too. Then you have to make college happen for yourself. You have to decide to take the hard classes, to do all of your homework, to show up for school, and to ask for help when you need to understand something better. I recently heard about a 5th grade girl who belongs to 4-H and became, none of her family has graduated from high school with her, and how she has these dreams to go to college. And in 4-H, they do a lot of agriculture things, and she raised a hog and was able to sell her hog for $1,000. And the next day, she walked down to the bank and put half of that away for college savings. And she now walks down to the bank when she comes across any money and puts it in that savings account in 5th grade. And those are the types of dreams she has. And that's the type of determination everybody should have, and you should have if you want to go to college. You shouldn't be talking about if you go to college, you should be talking about where you're going to go to college. And you should be creating a plan for college. So set your sights high now, not later. And when you graduate and go out into the world, you are most likely going to cycle through a minimum of 10 to 14 jobs by the time you are 38 years old. It's a lot of career changes. You will work in jobs that do not exist today. You will be networked with team members across countries working on common problems. You are members of an exceptional generation that is constantly wired and connected. In fact, there's a term for you. It's called digital natives, that you grew up with technology. You are growing up in a time of iPods, internet, texting, YouTube, social networking. Those are all the things that the adults in this room have to learn how to do. But those technological tools are just natural to you. You have information available to you instantly because of technology, and people now work together globally. That means that companies want people to know how they need to know how to work in teams. And in order to do that type of teamwork, you need to be globally competent. That means that you will need to learn about other cultures and worldviews to be successful. You will have to be able to see issues from a multitude of perspectives. Put yourself in another's shoes. Without learning about and respecting differences, you will not be a good team member or a good team leader. Being culturally competent, being able to analyze an issue from multiple perspectives, and respecting each of those viewpoints will allow you to become a leader in those global teams. And while you should take those hard classes in high school and get prepared for college, also know that becoming educated means more than learning how to read, write, and do arithmetic. It also means learning how to respect each other. In your future work and life, understanding and respecting people's differences in gender, race, culture, religion, class, politics, ability, sexual orientation, and physical appearance will help you. It's important for you to be okay with differences in people. We all have a life story that gives each of us a different lens from which to view the world. And each of our stories is important. You will have to understand and respect differences in people if you are to be successful in your work and your life. And in order to create meaningful change, you will have to work with all kinds of people. You will have to work actively and collaboratively. You must work to get your peers involved too. This size of conference can double when you go back to your communities and engage your peers and bring them back for the conference next year. Change can only happen if you get people to believe that your vision can be achieved and they want to work with you on reaching your goal. It's so important for your generation to work together and be civically engaged because your generation is facing many big issues. Issues that are sometimes divisive and will take patience and collaboration to get through. Our economy. What is the role of government in our economy, and how will you dig our country out of a huge deficit while also taking care of its citizens? Civil liberties in a time of international unrest. Can we safeguard national security without trampling on civil liberties? How will your generation shape policy around abortion, same-sex marriage, capital punishment, gun control, poverty, immigration, global climate change? Huge issues, and all tough issues. But you are the perfect advocates for change because you are the ones who are most affected. Plus you have the intelligence, the talents, experiences, and energy to carry it out. I have learned through my life experiences that if you believe in yourself, others will too. And if you have confidence in who you are, there is no end to what you can accomplish. In addition to having confidence, you must also have the courage to seek the truth, to speak the truth, and to stand up for the underdog, and to stand up against intolerance, even if yours is the only voice doing so. And this state needs your voice on these and so many other issues. We need to learn from each other to make the best possible decisions for your future and for our country's future. You are educated by every experience you live, every interest you pursue, every book you read, and every person you meet. Do not let an unwillingness to embrace differences get in the way of learning everything there is to learn. So whatever it is that you envision for your future, you have to believe that you have the potential to do it, that it's going to take hard work, and that opportunities will present themselves. So be ready to take those opportunities as they come along. Just being at this conference proves you are willing to step up and be a leader. You should be proud of that. Continue taking advantage of these opportunities when they are presented to you. Continue raising your hand to get involved, and continue to step forward when asked to participate. Young people bring an important voice to the table, and it's particularly important that the voice of young women be at the table. We still have a long ways to go as far as women being equally represented in elected office. Did you know that in the Montana House of Representatives, only 28 out of 100 representatives are women, and that's in our state. And only 7 out of the 50 who serve in the state senate are women. 7. Montana has not elected a woman to Congress since Jeanette Rankin, the first woman ever elected to Congress in 1916. We've only had 1 female governor in Montana, and 24 states have never had a female governor. As women, we make up 51% of this country, and I think we can do better. And it's going to take all of you to be involved. It's going to take young women like you to lead the way, to step up, and to get it done. That's why your involvement in these types of conferences is so important. It teaches you the importance of being involved. It provides you learning on a huge spectrum of issues. I mean, those workshops you have, there's diverse issues there. You meet current leaders in our state. You get to meet other youth leaders from across the state, and you get to be surrounded by people who believe in your brilliance, your creativity, and your talents. It provides great leadership experience for your future. And now, as you heard in the introduction, I'm the State Superintendent of Public Instruction. And so what does that mean? Well, it means I oversee a state agency called the Office of Public Instruction. We also call it OPI, and no, it's not the fingernail polish company. The OPI has about 160 staff that serves all 141,807 public school students in the state. 12,733 licensed staff, 2,344 paraprofessionals, and 427 public school districts all across Montana. The OPI supports all school efforts to provide a quality education to every student. And I ran for this office because I believe in the power of public education and what it can do for individuals and for our communities and for our state. I've been involved in the education profession nearly my entire life. I know what becoming educated can do for a person, both financially and socially. I also believe that education can bring about equality and justice in our society. And I think it's important to bring that mindset of equality and justice to your work about contributing to your community and into public service. My family also taught me about the responsibility that comes with an education. That when you earn a diploma, you also earn a responsibility to take your knowledge and use your education to make your community, our state, and our country a better place for future generations. And that's why I believe so much that every student needs to graduate from high school, prepared to take those next steps in their lives. When that first milestone of high school graduation is achieved, everything else just seems so much more possible. Our state has about 2,000 students that drop out of school every year. It's a lot. It's a large move. It's larger than some of your towns that you come from. 2,000 students. And I know that we can do better, because that's way too many. So I started an initiative called Graduation Matters Montana, where all stakeholders, including students in some of your communities, come together to make a plan to keep more students in school. And these are the types of discussions I have with my student advisory board. While we often talk about things that adults can do to help students succeed at school and support them through graduation, The Student Advisory Board wanted to create a way that students could get involved in this initiative. So they had an idea to create a way for students to engage in what's called I Pledge to Graduate activities. A way for students to give voice to their commitment to graduate from high school, a pledge not only to themselves, but to another person. There have been Pledge to Graduate events in schools all across our state. We actually have a place online where all of you can go and take the pledge to graduate, and we actually do monthly drawings from those online submissions for an iPod once a month and some gas cards from Town Pump. And when students take the pledge to graduate, we give them a cool wristband. My staff's not looking at what they're doing these. So I would like to ask, actually, that this group do a fast pledge activity right now. I'm going to ask you, don't stand up yet, to stand up, to pair up with one of your neighbors, and to tell that person that you will graduate from high school. And add a because statement. I pledge to graduate because. And while you're doing that, we'll pass these wristbands around so each of you can wear that back to your community. So go ahead, stand up, pair up, tell the person that you why you pledge to graduate. You can all pledge to sit down now. I want to thank you for starting the day with such an important promise to yourself. Remember to go make your pledge online as well, so that you can get into the full process of drawings. And I would actually like to take this opportunity to express my thanks to the organizers, that core committee. So thanks again, core committee for Girls for a Change. They helped bring you this far. And I'm sure that the adults as well have time to encourage you, to teach you, and to support your efforts. And I hope that you take advantage of all that this conference has to offer you. Go to the workshops, learn something new, step out of your comfort zone, and be a leader by influencing others to be positively engaged. Good luck to all of you in your future. I look forward to seeing your engagement at the local, state, and national policy levels. Thanks for inviting me.